Hello, good afternoon. I'm wondering if I'm audible, but welcome to today's training. I think we've given enough time for guys to join. We are at 2:18, so I guess we could start the training at exactly 2:20 to 25. So in the meantime, I think I just want to go through our usual roll call, then I think from there we'll begin. So I'll just call up the partner's name. If you are in, kindly acknowledge. All right, so let me begin with the UMB Pax Tumiza. If you are in the call, Pax Tumiza. Afya Jijini. Anyone from Afya Jijini? The next is Crisp. Anyone?
Present.
Thank you. UN. Anyone from UN, COE? Okay. Amref? Anyone from Amref? Okay. Hope Worldwide. Hope Worldwide. Next is Coptic.
Present.
Karibu. Ngima for sure. Ngima for sure. Next is Afya Nyota ya Bonde. Health Strat. LVCT Steps.
Present.
Welcome. Walter at Nairobi.
Present.
Welcome. ICAP. ICAP. Walter in South Rift.
Present.
Karibu sana. Kogri. Kogri. Next is CHS Shinda. CHS Shinda. Shinda wako. CHS Naishi. Next is AHF.
Present.
Karibu. UMB Endeleza.
Present Otieno.
Karibu sana Francis Kimonye. Afya kamilisha?
Thank you.
Anyone from Afya kamilisha? KCCB Cup?
Afya Kamilisha, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you.
KCCB Cup? Bomu?
Yes, Bernard, we are present.
Karibu sana. Afya Pwani?
Present, sir.
Karibu. Chapu Zima? Chapu Zima? LVCT Daraja?
Present.
Karibu sana Paul. Do we have LTIT in the call?
Yes, you're there, Bernard.
Yes, present, sir.
Karibu sana Ricky. CHS Tegemeza?
Yes, we are present.
Thank you. I don't know if you have anyone from IRDO in the room. Lastly, AMPAT. Anybody from AMPAT? We don't have AMPAT? Okay. So I don't know if there is any partner that maybe I haven't called. If you are there, kindly acknowledge and tell me the name of your organization.
Ben,
Yes.
I'm present.
AMREF present. Okay, noted. Any other? All right. I think we'll call out the roll call maybe towards the end just to be sure that we have everyone on board. So once again, welcome to today's training. As I'd already told you yesterday, we are going to go through the migration data validation process. So yesterday we were basically looking at the technical process of migration from IQCare into KenyaEMR, which I guess we did successfully. So today we are going now to look at the data validation aspect, where we're going to look at how do we then conduct the data validation before, during, and after the migration process, so that at the end of it all, we are sure that the data that is migrated is of good quality and it is in concordance with the data that is at the source, that is in the IQCare database. So it will be an interesting session, and I'm really asking all of us to concentrate and follow through. I also believe that we can do this together. This is going to be a practical session. So I'll encourage you also to kind of join in and do it from your end, so that at the end of it, all of us understand that and you are able to do it practically after this. Okay, so a few housekeeping here. We are going to record this particular call, and as always, you'll find the recorded version in our YouTube channel. If you go to the YouTube, search for KenyaEMR channel, you'll find all the materials there, and we encourage you to subscribe so then you can be notified of all the updates that we usually do within the channel. When it comes to questions, we encourage you to type in questions in the text area. Our team will be able to respond in real time. If you'd like to interrupt the presenter, please use the raise hand icon so that we'll see your hand, and that way you'll be able to interrupt the facilitator, so then you can ask your question verbally. For those who are doing this with us, if you have a problem, again, as always, you can share your team viewer or any desk ID. Our team will be able to log into your machine and assist you anywhere, whichever stage you are at. So once again, the session will be divided into two. We are going to have the practical data validation process. Then we are also going to have, we are going to take you through these assumptions that were made that might explain some of the discordance that you might experience when you're doing your verification and validation. So without wasting time, I think I would like to just call in our first facilitator who is going to lead the first session. So we are going to have Ms. Valentine Alwaj, who is our QA in the project. She's going to take us through the first phase of the data validation. So Valentine, if you are in the call, you may just proceed.
Hi guys, good afternoon. So before I start, I think Patrick is in the call for a short introduction. So I'll leave it to Patrick before I can continue.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Patrick Shoke, Aradia. I'm in this session, like my colleague Otieno has said, and Valentine, we just want to show you how to validate and verify that the migration has not messed with your data. So Valentine will take you through to process the pre-migration, where she will show you what you need to do before migration. This pre-migration and post-migration process is very important for you and for us to make sure that we document what was there before and what was there after, so that at the end of the migration, we can compare and sign off and say this site has been successfully migrated. However, there might be some discrepancies between pre and post migration, and I will be able to show you how we have documented those and made some assumptions and why there could be differences, and we have tried to explain them. And after Valentine is done, I will take you through a highlight of some of the assumptions we made and decisions in regards to any discrepancies that might be there. So go ahead, Valentine.
Okay, so thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Ben. So I'll be taking you through a short presentation. Thereafter, we'll move to the practical part. I hope everybody, you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So today it's about...
Would you like to...
Okay, so like I was saying, today we are going to do more about validation, what you need to do before and after migration. So that is what I'll be taking you through. So in the first, an overview, this is just an outline of what the procedures of what you need to do in KenyaEMR and IQCare validations. There are SOPs that are aligned to this that will be shared with you on how to go step by step on each and every indicator that you need to do, or each and every process you need to undertake. So this is just an overview of what you're supposed to do. So some of the summary that we need to do include the IQCare database backup. This is very important so that when anything goes wrong during the migration, you still have a backup to restore. Then we also have, I know most of you guys use Live Happy. We also need to back up that database because of any hitch that might happen. And then we verify the IQCare version. So everybody should be in IQCare version, sorry, it's supposed to be IQCare version, sorry, I'm just, latest version is the patch 2. So I'll show you how to. I know you have the GitHub where you can get the latest version of IQCare version, but just make sure it's patch 2. Then we also have the synchronization of all the EHTS data that is in the Live Happy. Then the upgrade that is required is version 2.482 for DWAPI. So everybody has to make sure that that is the current version that they have. Then once that is done, you need to refresh your IQ Tools database. There are also a few scripts that you need to run when you are doing that refreshing of IQ Tools so that it corresponds to the migration tools. So that is also available for you guys and you'll be able to get those scripts. Then we'll have to extract relevant reports. Just to name a few, 731, the HTS, the DWAPI, the DATIM, and all that, among others that you feel are relevant for your facility. For comparison, when you'll be doing pre and post. Then the other thing which I know you are taken through yesterday is the setup of the migration, the PDI, and the performing the migration. Then now what we are doing is now the validation and verification. So there is an SOP where you will be able to be taught all that. You'll be given an SOP for validating all those procedures step by step. So I want to go to the SOP because it will be shared with you guys. So what we'll do under validation and verification, we'll compare reports from IQCare and generate reports after migration. That is now the KenyaEMR, and document the finding. Maybe just to state, we'll maybe check the current on ART versus current on ART in IQCare and KenyaEMR after migration. Then where the indicators are not matching, we have a comparison tool, which I'm going to show you how to use and record the missing patients or clients in either of the system. Then we'll drill down and find out the reasons, and that is where the assumption tool, the assumption presentation will come in to show you why some of the missing clients in either of the system are as that. So that will come. Then once that is done, based on your finding, there are some of the things that you'll need to do. You'll now proceed and conduct a migration for data quality improvement. If some of the validations done are for some data missing, maybe documentation, something like that. You need to do that and ensure that your data is up to date. Then you will also have to undertake correction at the source, that is the IQCare platform, then redo a migration if that is required. Then where an error is encountered, we have our Palladium help desk service where you will be able to get your support. Then at the end, you also go to the data warehouse and verify your uploads, because there was an upload. We'll have to do an upload before and after migration. So I think that's it with the short presentation. So I really don't want to dwell much on that because we are doing practical. So I'll share my screen again. I don't know if you are seeing the current page I'm showing.
Yes, we can see.
Yeah, so what we'll need to do is I'll start with the IQCare because that is where the pre-migration start. So let me just log out and show you how to log in. Just to note that the database that I'm using, I did a pre and post. So this is the IQCare database that I'm using. This is Nanyuki Cottage. This will only be for a demonstration. And I've also done, yes?
I think the screen we are seeing, I don't know if it is the right one. We are still seeing the PowerPoint that you are making.
Okay, I'll just reshare my screen again.
You have to pull down this one first.
Okay. Just a minute, I'm sharing my screen. So I guess you should be seeing IQ tools. Are we okay?
Yes, we can see IQ tool.
Okay, so this I know most of you are familiar with this page. This is the homepage for IQ tools. So we have home, queries, the reports, the IQCare messaging. I want to go into all that. I'll just show you how to get maybe the specific reports. So I'll start with the ANA reports. There are so many reports that you can get. We have the HIV care routine reports. We have the MOH registers. We have the MOH reports, pharmacy consumption, and etc. So for now, I'll do a few examples of how to generate reports. So maybe I'll start with the MOH 731 because that's the main key. So for this month, for this database, I'll be using April because the database is a bit backdated. So I didn't have a recent database, so we'll just use the month of April. So when you on your right, you can see how to generate. You just come and click on the month that you want to generate the report for. And then down here, you'll see generate report and do the generating of the report and wait until the report is generated. If you have any question, you can ask in the app, in the chat. Remember, this is a database that had already gone through the process of migration. So I had this database, I did the PDI, and we'll also see how to go about it when we now have it in KenyaEMR. So this is the report, and as you can see, this facility, there is no HTS. So On the part of care and treatment, you can see there is some data. They enrolled 4. They had current on
sorry.
ERT.
You
Come
can't
up
see, sorry. You now have to share the report that you've generated.
Oh, sorry.
You have to stop sharing this and then go now to what you downloaded.
Sorry, guys. There is a lot of sharing required, so yeah. So this is my report. This is what you'll see. As you can see, this facility, they are not doing HIV testing and counseling. So, or if they are doing, they're not reporting in the system. So under the HIV and TB treatment, we can see that some data. I hope everybody's with me on this. So as you can see, they had 4 newly enrolled, 5 starting ART, current on ART, 3 or 4. So this report, you'll have to save it somewhere. And remember the month that you used to, the reporting month that the report was run. So if it is April, what you are supposed to do in KenyaEMR will also be April for comparison and validation, because we are also going to get line list of the same to help you find where the variance or some of the discrepancies are coming from. Are we together? So that is just generating 731. I'll stop sharing this and go back to my IQ tools. So ideally, that is how you can generate any of the reports here. If it is DATIM, you go where the DATIM is, click on it and select on the month. Now, let's say I want to get a line list of any indicator. So I'll go back home and come to, for example, I want the indicators that I want are for 731. I'll come under clinical and go to MOH 731. They are also for data use list. There is also for viral load messaging for IL. Under data use list, just to show you what you can get, there is a line list of patients who started on heart. It's a lot. So depending on what you want to validate, you can get there. But for our case, I want to show you how to get a line list for the MOI 731 indicators. So when I come here, and maybe I want to get a line list of patients currently on ART. So this is what I'll do. I'll select a line list of patients current on ART in the specific period. Is there a question? Okay, so if I want to get a line list of patient current on ART in a specified month, specified period, I select on it and then run. So when I run, it will ask me to what date. So to what date, I'll start with the year, which is 2020. Remember, you are reporting months to help you in the validation. So remember, I said we are going to work with the month of April 2020. So for the report, MOI 731, it will be April 2020. So right now, I'm also going to generate a line list of current on ART patients within the specified period. So our period is still April 2020. So that is 4th and up to 30th. April ends in 30th, and then I do okay. So once that is done, this is the list, and I have 304 records. So ideally, that is what also should be in the MOH 731 that we had generated. We'll see if they are in concordance. So what you do is just Excel this, export this to Excel. Oh, there is add open one. So let me just close it first. Just a minute. So when you generate a line list, this is what you'll get. Let me just show you what you'll get. Are we together? Is everybody seeing the Excel that we've just exported? So this is the line list of patients currently on ART for the month of April. Are we together there?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so this is what you'll see. You also save it somewhere for reference because you are going to use the same report in doing validation. So that is how to get a line list. I'll just show you another. So again, let's say if you wanted another line list that is not current on ART, you can do starting ART and just run. Starting ART now has to date and from which date. So to date will be the date, the end date. So that is 2020-04, 30th. And then the start date, which will be 2020. Remember, I'm starting with the year, the month, and then the date. So 04 and 01. So when you do generate, that is the line list. So this one also you can save and get your line list. So these line lists are specified, but if you want to go to a line list that has not been specified here, we can do queries. One can go to queries and search. There are also some other line lists that you may want, and they are not under the MOS 731 or the data use list. So these are some of the line lists that you also might want to use. So I've just gone to queries, and then under queries I searched, and maybe I wanted to do a line list of TB screening. Not even TB screening. Let me just do any. I'll just pick any, maybe IPT clients, and then I do preview. So when I do preview, it will give me this, just the same way I said date, I said year, month. So this one start from. So it won't be 30th, it will be now 01. Then 2020, 04, 30th. And then you do. So ideally, they don't have any IPT clients. So I'm just showing you an overview of how you can go about getting other line lists and all the line lists that you are required to have when doing validations. So once that is done, we've already saved our line list and the reports are okay. Now, the second phase is now doing all the migration and now exporting your data to KenyaEMR and migrating all the data sets and having your KenyaEMR ready. So that process was taken, I made to understand it was taken through for you guys yesterday, and now you understand how to do migration and having your KenyaEMR set up. So those reports that I've run, you are not limited to those. You can do HTS if your facility is doing HTS. You can do lab, you can do, hey, whatever report that you require to do validation. But
Val,
most importantly, our report was 731 and I've just
Valentine.
done a, yes?
There's a lot of echo on your side.
Echo.
Yeah.
Strange. I don't know where that is coming from. Is it still there? I'm in a very quiet room. I don't know why.
I can't I can't hear any echo. I think it's clear on my end.
Then.
Yeah, I think it's better for me.
Okay, so that's it. So we want to move to now the OpenMRS and see how you can also do the same. Then we now do a comparison. Remember, there is a tool that I told you will be shared with you to help you do the validation and comparison and to find out your discrepancies. So on the same, I'll just stop sharing this and now share my screen. Are we able to see my screen? I'm now having KenyaEMR.
Yes.
Okay, so still the same database, it's Nanyuki Cottage. So I'd gone through the migration process and that's why now I have my Nanyuki Cottage database. It is the same database that we have in IQCare. As you can see, let me just log out and show you. It's still Nanyuki Cottage. So make sure you have KenyaEMR Nanyuki Cottage and IQCare Nanyuki Cottage, depending on your facility. So Nanyuki Cottage is going to be our example for today. So I'll just log in. I don't know if most of you are familiar with KenyaEMR, but now this is the homepage for KenyaEMR. We have registration, we have triage, we have the HIV testing services, we have clinician, we have drugs, we have PrEP for those who are offering PrEP, we have lab request, patient tracing, charts, reports. I'm admin, so I have all the rights, but depending on your services as a facility or as a facility user, you will be limited to some roles. So for now, because we just want to do validations and see our comparison, we'll mostly work with the reports. And now these are all the reports that you can get in KenyaEMR. We have the common reports where we have all the HIV, most of the HIV report it contains of the 731, the dirty, we have the HTS and all that. Then we have the cohort analysis reports. We also have the HIV indicators where we have the CQI reports and also some of the registers required. Like I said, when you're doing validations, you are not limited to only those reports that I downloaded or I showed you, but you can also do registers for comparison. Maybe the HTS register, the lab, the DR register, depending on what you want to verify. Then we also have the TB reports. We have the IPT, we have the MCH services, we have the OTZ, the OVC, MCH child services, and then we have the PrEP. So those are some of the reports that you will get in KenyaEMR, depending on the services your facilities offer. So for now, we'll go directly to running 731. As you can see, I had done one, but I'll show you again. So when you come, this is the page that you will see. You do a request. So on the request, remember our month was April 2020. The report that I ran in IQCare was April 2020. So that is what I'm going to replicate in KenyaEMR. So I'll go back and find my April 1st to end date, which is April 30th, and do run. So when I click on run, it will run. So this is what you get. We have view, we have CSV, we have Excel, we have ADX. So ADX is for sending it directly to the DHIS. I'm sure you will, when you are doing now the practicals for KenyaEMR use, those are some of the things that will be shown. And Excel is just the same Excel that you can export and get a replica of how it is in a hard copy. Then CSV is also for some users. If you want to send to the data warehouse, you can use CSV or that. Then view. So view for KenyaEMR is where you can also do your line list, like we were doing in IQ tools, going to the queries or running the line list. Now here, it's very direct. When you click on view, you get the report in a view option, and this will help you to get the line list. Like I say, as you can see, there are zeros up here because maybe this facilities that doesn't do HTS and MCH, or maybe if they do, that data is not entered in the system. So I'll stick maybe to the HIV/TB section. So if I wanted to do a line list of current on ART, remember we did a line list of current on ART. So we'll be working with the line list of current on ART to do our comparison. So I'll come and click on, this is the current on ART total. So this is the total I want because I want to get that line list. I'll go direct to the number. I hope everybody's seeing the total and have come and just to get the number. If you want to drill down as per age, you are not limited. You are allowed. You can still get that line list. So when I click on 308, I'll now view the cohort, all the patients who are current on ART within that month. So when I do that, this is what I get. I get the line list, their names, age, sex, HIV, enrollment date, ART start date, last viral load, the way the IQCare one was coming. Then I do the download. When I do download, it will download. And on download, this is what you get. So maybe I'll stop sharing that and just show you when you do the download how the line list come. So I hope everybody's seeing. So when you do a line list for KenyaEMR, this is what you will see. The most specific thing is the UPN. We are not even interested in the name. So this is what we'll use. Then I'll just go back and do the same for Excel so that we can get a replica of the same. So you just go back. If you want to do an Excel version of that, you just go back and click on Excel. So when you do Excel, open. Oh, sorry. So it's the same normal 731 report that you normally use, the hard copy. So this is it. And as you can see, we can see under the HIV and TB data, there is data. So these are some of the things that we'll do to compare, just like I said. So maybe we can even try and do one comparison. Like we said, enrolled in care, there were 4. Here we have 3. So there is already a discrepancy there. In IQCare, we had 4, and in KenyaEMR, we are now having 3. So there's a discrepancy there. Now we will drill down and find out why this one is missing. So those are some of the things that we are supposed to be doing in pre and post migration. And just current on ART, there we had, I don't know why my totals are not coming on. Oh, let me just enable editing. Sorry, I didn't enable that. Yeah, so there we had 3 or 4. Oh, so it's actually 4. I didn't enable editing, so it was missing out on some indicators. So actually enrolled in care was 4, and here also we have 4. So there we don't have a discrepancy. What we'll need to do is maybe find out if the age segregations are matching in all in IQCare versus in KenyaEMR. So you'll see if enrolled in care is 0, you will also check in the report for IQCare if it was 0. If you get here there is a 0, and in IQCare it's a 1, that is another discrepancy. You'll find out why do we have at age 1 to 9 a 0 in KenyaEMR, and at age 1 to 9 we have a 1. So those are some of the things that will be you'll have to compare and look at, and just to make sure that your data is as the way it was before and after. Don't miss out on anything. Yeah, so that's it. I've shown you how to get the line list for KenyaEMR. I've shown you how to run the report. So I think the next thing is now to show you how to go through the comparison. Like I said, there is a tool. So the data that we want to compare, I think, is current on ART, because in IQCare we had 3 or 4, and in KenyaEMR we had 3 or 8. So we want to find out why there's that discrepancy and variance. And just like my colleagues mentioned earlier, there are some assumptions that may lead to this. One of them could be how the two systems look at the calculation of current on ART. So those are some of the things that my colleague will come and let you know how to go about it. So I'll stop sharing this and just show you the comparison tool. It's a very simple tool. This is how it looks like. We'll be using the UPNs for comparing. We have where you put the UPN for IQCare and where you put the UPN for KenyaEMR. So I'd run the reports. I have them somewhere. We had run them with you, and they're just somewhere here in my laptop. So I'll start with finding the line list for IQCare, and I pick on the UPN. So I'll show you how to get. So this is the line list that we ran for IQCare for current on ART for the month of April. So what I'll do, I'm just interested in the UPNs. I'll just come and select the UPN for that line list and copy. Then I go to my comparison list. and paste the UPN here under the IQCare UPN. So this is where I'll put the IQCare UPNs. Then the next thing I need to do is that I go back to KenyaEMR and find my line list for KenyaEMR, which is here. So it is the same indicator that is current on ART for the month of April. I also pick the UPNs for KenyaEMR, the one that I just exported to Excel. Copy, come to my comparison list, and paste under the KenyaEMR UPNs. So that's all you need to do. As you can see, did I copy all for IQCare? Sorry, let me just check. Let me just, I didn't copy everything for IQCare, sorry. So you have to ensure everything is okay. Control C. Yeah, so because I remember the variance was around 4. So we have everything. So this is what you have. So I have the UPNs for current on ART for the month of April for IQCare, and the UPNs for the month of April for current on ART for KenyaEMR. So once I have these two, I just come here and click on compare. So when I compare, the sheets change from input to output. So this is the output that I get. As you can see, so what this output means is that these 5 patients under the IQCare UPN are in IQCare as current on ART, but are missing in KenyaEMR as current on ART. I want us to get that clear. The UPNs under IQCare UPN means these patients exist in that indicator for current on ART for the month of April 2020, but they are missing under the indicator current on ART for the month of April 2020 in KenyaEMR. Vice versa to the UPNs under KenyaEMR. So the ones under KenyaEMR means that they are included in KenyaEMR as current on ART for the month of April, but they are missing in IQCare for the month of April. Are we together there? Hello, am I talking to myself or?
Yeah, that's clear.
Okay, so what we need to do is to find out why all this is happening and the reasons why they are missing in the two systems. That does not mean that these patients have not been migrated. These patients have been migrated and they're actually in KenyaEMR, but now for the reporting period under that indicator, they are missing with one reason or the other. It could be maybe the way the IQCare calculates current on ART, what it's looking at maybe wasn't done on that, and now KenyaEMR has omitted that client, such like things, you know, the various cases. Maybe the last day of the visit of the drug dispense, maybe 30th, the first. such cases. So those assumptions you'll be told in the next presentation. But what you can do, if you want to drill down now, maybe I come to this patient, maybe this is patient 127, blah, blah. Let me just copy that UPN. And then go to, let me share my, stop sharing that and go to my IQCare. Let me just log in. When I go to universal service, it normally takes a while to load, but that's it. So I do find the patient, then I paste that my UPN number there and click on search. So when I click on search, the client, the patient is Henry Kimathi. I go to Henry Kimathi's home. And then click on encounters. So the patient is lost to follow-up since 26th July 2020. So meaning within the month of April, this patient was active. But let's see, if I click on encounter history, now we want to know why KenyaEMR, IQCare didn't pick this patient as active on ART. And those are some are genuine reasons, but some are assumptions that my colleague will drill down. As you can see, this patient came on January 28, 2020. A pharmacy form was filled. Let's see, she was given drugs for how many days? For 90 days, that's okay. So January, February, March. So those are 3 months. I'm just trying to help you reason some of the things that you will go through. So up to, that is 90 days. So it's up to maybe 28 April. Now let's see and try to find out. Let me just go back and see the next visit date was given on when. So there is always, let me just try to find the appointments and see. So we have an appointment of Jan 2020 and another appointment on 5th May 2020. So between Jan to May 5th, something might have happened. And now that is what we want to drill down and find out. So I'm just showing you some of the steps that you'll find out before you conclude that the calculation of the two systems might have a problem. These are some of the things that you look at. You can go back to the encounters and try to see taking time. Sorry, it's about my network. Taking time to go back. But yeah, that is ideal. As you can see, the same patient we can also search in KenyaEMR, just to show you that this patient has been migrated. It is only that in that reporting month, she's missing in that particular report. So I can just come to find patient registration, find patient. I paste that number there. You see, Jacob Henry Kimathi. And in KenyaEMR, in IQCare, his, just do this, I don't know why. In KenyaEMR, she's also Jacob Henry Kimanthi. So ideally, this patient has been migrated. It is only that indicator, there is something that happened. That's why she's missing in one report and it's available in the other. And also you can see if all the patient history for Jacob Kimathi have also been migrated. As you can see, Jacob came on 18th Jan, and there was a HIV green card field. Don't mind the loss to follow up because I told you this data is a later database, so it could not be the reason why, because we are already in April, we're in August. So this client was supposed to come on 5th May. So ideally there is a discrepancy there. So you can see KenyaEMR counted this patient as active because between January to 5th May, April is within, so this client is active. So there is a reason why IQCare didn't count. So I don't know if I'm clear or I'm fast or I'm talking to myself. I'm just showing you some of the assumptions, some of the things to look at when you're doing your validations and when you're trying to do your comparison. Please talk to me as I take water.
Is there anyone with a comment or a question for Valentine now that she's running for for water?
Yes, I'm back. It was nearby, so.
Okay.
Nimeongea sana, so. Are we together?
Yes, yeah. We are following.
Oh, you are following. Yeah,
Yes.
so ideally that is how you'll be using the comparison tool, and just to find out why some of your clients are like that. And it's not just to check on only the reports. You can also check for the data. Of course, the comparison tool you not use to check on the data details, but ideally you can just pick a few patients, just try to find out if the forms they were filled for in IQCare have been migrated to KenyaEMR. Like if TB screening was done in IQCare, it should also replicate the same in IQCare, in KenyaEMR, and of the same date with the same indicators that were entered. So Ben, I don't know if you want me to stop there to bring in Patrick, or there's something I've left out.
Yeah, I think unless we have any question from the participants or comments, then I guess it will be okay. Yes, James.
Yeah, I would like to maybe go back to the comparison tool where we had the line, the IQCare versus the KenyaEMR list.
Let me just share it.
Sure. And when I look at the first patient, just compare, so that I can have the list. You can have the list for IQCare.
Oh, I compare. So I'd already done that. So there's an output.
So now, when I look at the first patient in IQCare and the last patient in KenyaEMR, I think they look like as if they are the same. I don't know whether it will be the comparison tool that might have a problem or the validation is correct.
Oh, okay. You're talking about the numbers.
Yeah, this is the number, the UPNs for the first patient, IQCare, the first one and the last in KenyaEMR. I don't know, I'm looking at the same and they look like as if they are the same.
Yes, there could be.
But
Okay,
now,
we can just look at this patient and see.
okay.
Yeah, those are some of the, you have to drill down and find the nitty-gritties of why such things happen. I'll also try to find him in IQCare. Oh, let me just share my screen, sorry. So the patient is known as, oh, let me just go back because there is one with a 0 not starting with 1. Let me just go back and check. This one has a 0 starting with. So, I think it's the 0 thing. One was starting with a 0 before 1 and one is starting with the 0 with 1. So maybe we'll just check that and look at why it has come up as one of the clients that are missing. But 0 before 1, there are 2 different patients. So there is one with a 0 before the 1, and there is one with starting with 1 and no 0.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think I'll stop there so that the next Patrick can come in with some of the assumptions that could lead to some of the variants and the discrepancies that you are seeing, so that you will be aware when you're doing your validation, you just know what is happening in the background. Okay?
Thank you, Valentine. Good afternoon once again, everyone. Valentine, you can stop sharing your screen so that.
Okay.
So for this session, when the migration toolkit was shared with you, there was a document inside there called Assumptions and Document and Decisions Made. It contains numerous of the assumptions that we made as we were developing the migration toolkit, and our understanding of the 2 EMRs and what differences you're going to find. So in this presentation, I'm not going to go through the entire document. I will highlight about 10 of the main assumptions that we've made. And we have shared this before, so I'm just going to run through them. Please confirm you can see my screen. Do you know? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I will start with what Valentine was taking us through, 731 mostly. So in IQCare, current on ALT was the number of the drugs dispensed. So for someone to be considered to be current or not, they needed to have a drug prescribed and dispensed. And then we would calculate how many drugs they have been given and arrive to the next TCA. So for instance, if you're given drugs today for 60 days, so it is today plus 60 days, during which time you'll be active, you'll be considered as a current on ALT. So if you had an appointment and then, like you came for an encounter, but there were no drugs dispensed, you would still not be considered as current on ALT. So in KenyaEMR, we use the TCA, where as long as you have an appointment and it's greater than today, you are considered as an active. Basically, you are considered to be current on ALT. For IQCare, we used to use 0 days for current on ALT, the same for on CTX. So, and I'll try and explain this because it will come up. If you are generating a report on 30th July, the last day of the reporting date, in IQCare, anybody who has a TCA that day is considered as active. Because remember, their TCA was calculated using drugs. If their TCA is today, it means they have drugs for today. So they are active today. But for KenyaEMR, they are expected to come for a visit today. So if there is no visit today, they are considered as inactive. So if you had people who were TCA on the reporting date and they have not visited, they will all be dropped from the report. So we have noted that, especially when for high volume clinics that have clinics every day, including maybe when the reporting date falls on a weekday. So please take note of that. If you have 20 people coming today and 10 have come, they'll be dropped. So your numbers might drop comparing pre and post migration. Secondly, in IQCare, when you are transferred out, you come today and you say, I want to change my clinic, yet you also get a prescription. So let's say you've been given three months drug and the clinician has also transferred you out. You remain active in that facility until your drugs are over. So you'll be considered to be active in that facility and only dropped when you leave. In KenyaEMR, you are dropped immediately. You have been transferred out. So if there is a high number of transfer outs, your numbers will drop post-migration. You can always post your question on the chat and my colleagues will respond to you. Lastly, on this 731 calculation, Valentine has shown you how to generate the line list in KenyaEMR. And you can generate a line list for every indicator. During that line list, there are some desegregation depending on the report by age. If there are persons with data inconsistencies, for instance, someone's enrollment date is greater than their date of birth, or their IRT start date is greater than their date of birth, or their start date is greater than enrollment, they are not included in the desegregation in 731 and 13 reports. So when you look at, if you are comparing your reports by age, like how many people are between this age bracket, and you experience some differences, it could be that there is some data inconsistencies for those patients who are missing in that line list. So when Valentine exported the list, there could be someone there whose data is inconsistency, so they might be dropped from the report. Please note that all these inconsistencies are being migrated as they are. we are not doing any fixing of data during migration process. We migrate the data as is. So the option is either to clean before or after, but the migration process will move the data as it sits in the system. So I will move to the next list of assumptions. The two EMRs have a small discrepancy or a difference in the way they calculate age. So for instance, in IQCare or in IQ tools, when we are generating the reports, if someone was 17 years old and 5 months, they will be calculated as 17 years old. So, but whichever number of months they have, whether it's even 9 months, they'll still be 17. That is in IQCare. But in KenyaEMR, as long as they are beyond 6, they will be calculated as 18. So as you expect, this might, if you are comparing a patient level, you might have your patient 17 in IQCare and they look 18 years old in KenyaEMR. So that is because of that conversion of number of years. So if you are comparing a report on age disaggregation, especially reports that have like 731, DTIM, ART drug report, HTS lab register, MCH reports that have disaggregation by age, your numbers might vary, but the total is expected to be the same. So someone who was below 15 might be moved to 16, the bracket for 16-year-old, but the total for all the people in that bracket, that disaggregation should be the same. There is the issue of drug events. In IQCare, you have to have a drug dispensed for it to be calculated, whereas in KenyaEMR it's ordered. But during migration, we decided that we are going to only migrate drugs that have been ordered and dispensed. So if you have prescriptions in your facility that were done and they are not dispensed, they are not going to be migrated. So the assumption here is only valid drug events are those that are ordered and dispensed. Ordered and not dispensed are not included in the drug events and therefore will not be migrated. The next one is on the key dates for sentinel events. The data I had mentioned, like enrollment, date of birth, TCA, care termination, diagnosis date, all those key dates that we follow. So like I said, we are not doing any validation. The tools, the migration process is not validating any data. So it migrates it as is. And once you have migrated that data and you go to the other side, you'll be able to find the same inconsistencies. So we have the DQA tools within the EMRs, and you can opt to go through them and find the inconsistencies and fix them before migration, or you can migrate and fix them in KenyaEMR. On that team reports, there are some patients who are currently active on treatment and have a recent viral load in IQCare, but are not in the same in KenyaEMR, who have done a VL for the last 6 months. So basically, our finding, our conclusion was only patients who have been on ALT for 3 months need to be in the team reports. So I hope that is clear. So there was some differences in the way the two systems were generating the team reports, and therefore we are not making any change in either system, so it will remain the same. In both systems. I will move to unique patient identifiers. So especially in facilities that have used IQCare for very many years, when there was no standard for or unique number. We found some facilities have numbers that have dashes, slashes, and other non-numeric characters. And to be able to get the rules in KenyaEMR so that they can accept that data, and those numbers will be moved as they are. But remember, in KenyaEMR, you cannot update a patient record if their number is not standard. So if you go to you migrate and you open a file in the EMR for a patient whose number is not standard, you will not be able to save those records, that update, until you first update the number and put it the 10-digit format, the expected 10-digit format, MFL code and the other 5 numbers. Secondly, in some facilities, we found duplicate patients. And this is valid. You might find a patient who are sharing the UPN, or a patient who's registered multiple times. And since we cannot be able to know which of the 2 records are correct, so we migrated them as they are. So if you had duplicates, you still migrated. But remember, the UAP provides you with a mechanism to identify duplicate patients, and both EMRs have a deduplication function where you can merge any patient that you are sure they are the one and the same person registered more than once. So you can opt to do that pre-migration or post-migration. So duplicate records will be found in KenyaEMR post-migration. We also found in some databases patients who are enrolled in CCC, yet they don't have any CCC number. These are, like I said, these are likely to be old records in the old EMRs, and there is nothing we can do with a patient who does not have a CCC number. So for such, we are not migrating them, and the expectation is that there will be some data loss. If you do a count of your number of patients in your DB, post and pre-migration, and you happen to have patients who have no UPN, they will not be migrated, and there might be a data loss unless you choose to update those records before migration. To the last of the assumptions, most of the databases that we checked, we found very interesting scenarios of patients who are marked as new, but they have TI records. So for instance, you find a patient whose patient type is new, but they have a transfer in facility, they have a transfer in date, meaning they came in from another facility, but they are now marked as new. We really struggled with that issue, but our conclusion was we migrated as is. And we provided a query that is in the assumptions document that you can run to find all those patients. And the EMR allows you to update and say whether they are a TI or new correctly before migration, so that you do not suffer from this issue. Remember, if this will affect cohort analysis, just in case there is a change between you and TI, if you do that pre and post migration. So basically, this is a very interesting scenario, and it is cross-cutting in many databases. And how it happened, we do not know, but it's part of our finding. So that's a highlight of all the main assumptions. There is this document with numerous assumptions. Every time we find a new assumptions, we add it to this document, and you can be able to see a key at the bottom, which shows you what is the latest. So green is anything new that we are finding as we continue monitoring the migration and updating our documents. White means there is no change, and yellow means item updated in this particular version of the document that you will be receiving. So in case we have major findings, we will be able to update this document, and it will be shared with you as you go along with the migration. I don't know whether there is any question.
Is there a place we can get that document?
Yes, I think Otieno, Ben should be, Ben, I think you can advise where they can find it.
Maybe I can just share a link, but if you look at the migration resources, it is part and parcel of the resources you're going to find on the resources page. So one, I can share the link here if you want it, or two, you can check in the GitHub link where we have the migration resources. It's part of it. There's a link there that leads you to the document.
Is there any other question? So if there are no questions, I think Otieno, you can take it up.
I think there's a question.
This is Peter from Bomu. I'd asked a question on the chat, but I can ask it here. When we are generating our DATIM report for TXCAR, we usually include patients with missed appointments until 28 days. So I'm not sure whether KenyaEMR and IQCare has that logic when they are calculating the TXCAR, or if there is any report that we can get for the same. So probably some clarification on how that team as a TXCAR is calculated, whether that is factored.
Yes, that is factored in both the EMRs for DATIM reports. Yes.
Then I think the assumptions has not captured, has it? The assumption document has not captured that.
The assumption document captures outlier issues. Since that is a standard issue for both the EMRs, it should not be in the assumptions document.
I don't know if you are answered, so then we can allow somebody else to ask.
I'm okay. It's okay. Thanks.
Okay. Any other question, comment? Okay, seems like none. It's a 3:45. If you allow me, I'll just run through the roll call again just to mark the guys who came in present. So very quickly, I don't know if we have anyone from UMB, Timiza. Fiajijini. Okay, I hope worldwide.
Yes, we are here.
Okay, Ngema for sure. Okay, Afenyota. Okay. Health strat. ICUP. Kogri. Anyone from Kogri? CHS Naishi. Chapu Zima. And lastly, Ampath. Okay. Yeah, so
you forgot Kamilisha. There are people here.
Present too.
Kamilisha present. Thank you. Bernard.
Kamilisha is already captured. I think I captured it from the chat, from the self-introductions.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Jeff Kenya is present too.
Yeah, I've captured that as well. All right. Yes. So I guess we've had a
University of Maryland Teleza.
Yes, UMB Pact and the laser is captured. Okay. Yeah. So I was saying that I think we've had a good session yesterday and today, and we are very confident as Palladium that the skills and knowledge that we have passed through this virtual platform is going to go a long way in kind of helping you to move and perform your migration, and also support the KenyaEMR environment. So moving forward, I think we are going to concentrate on the targeted capacity building support just for the few people or the few partners that maybe would want additional support. So moving forward, if you have any need for training or capacity building on a particular product that we have so far covered virtually, you will feel free to reach out to us through the help desk toll-free line. We can arrange on how to have a targeted capacity building support to you, so long as you give us a good schedule or you give us a good notice. Otherwise, we are going to take some time to concentrate on building some capacity, some training content, especially the short videos on how to do some of these things that we have showed you. And we'll be uploading the same on YouTube. So in the next few coming weeks, if you check your YouTube channel, our YouTube channel, I mean, you'll be able to kind of watch some very short videos on how to do some of these things that we have shared with you for the past 2 to 3 weeks. Also, next week we'll be sharing some survey questions just to kind of evaluate ourselves on how this particular approach of capacity building and training, how it is being received or how it is working for you. So we would appreciate very honest feedback on the same, so that we can either improve or change our training methodology. So give us your responses. We'll be sharing with you the survey by next week, alongside some few post-training questions that we'll be expecting also to respond to, just to kind of go a long way in evaluating our performance on the trainings that we have so far carried out. Yeah, so without much ado, if there are no more comment or questions, I think we've had a good time. And I want to take this opportunity to thank you for always finding time in the afternoon to join these trainings, and I hope they've been fruitful. I also want to take this opportunity to thank my colleagues who have been facilitating and co-facilitating some of these sessions. I want to say thanks a lot. So if there are no further comment or questions, I think we'll end it at that. We'll be uploading this recording immediately after this meeting. So if you go to the channel in the next 10-20 minutes, you're likely to find this recording there. Otherwise, thank you very much. God bless you, and you have a good evening. Asanteni sana.
Thank you.
Thank you.